Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We are here with David Calafiore from GroupX.io and DeliciousMarketing.io. And David is always on the cutting edge of new ideas. He's always creating always creating new software apps. He has a local business agency, and he's always doing all kinds of cool things. And he never slows down. He never stops. Every time I talk to him, he says, there's some new app I use for productivity, or there's new thing I use for traffic. And we are going to figure out what David is working on, figure out how he thinks, figure out how he can tap into some of this nonstop creativity and genius. So David, glad to be talking to you.
Robert, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Always love talking to you.
Yeah. And every time we talk, there's like 50 new ideas, and I wish I had 50 lifetimes to get it all figured out. And lately, you have been launching and promoting this new software, as I understand it, that helps all of us build our Facebook groups, because I think we're all in a ton of these Facebook groups, whether they're for like an industry or locally in our town. And it's really easy to get jealous, right? You see some of these groups of thousands, right? Sometimes 10 or 20,000 people, and they're just posting. But then when we all, I think at some point have thought, I'd love to have a group of my own, and maybe we've tried it, or maybe we've thought about it. And the real problem with a lot of these groups is you have high hopes and dreams, you set it up, and then no one joins, no one posts. You post something, you get one like, one comment, and it feels like there's this disconnect between we see some of these groups that are super successful versus what we ourselves try to do. It looks so easy, but why do these things not match up?
Well, Facebook doesn't want it to match up for us. I think that's the biggest reason why is, pay to play is part of Facebook now. For a long time, if you went back to when like Facebook business pages first started, you'd build your page up, you get a big following, a bunch of fans. And Facebook would pretty much show that content to everybody who liked or followed your page. And of course, over time, as they started to monetize, they started to gradually reduce the amount of reach that you'd get with your posts, right? And nowadays, I mean, with most Facebook pages, you're lucky if you reach 5 to 10% of the people who like and follow your page. So kind of the same thing's happening with Facebook groups now too, because it's coming at some point. Is they're going to allow you to run ads to reach more people within your Facebook group. So they're starting now. They're starting to gradually lower the amount of reach that you get when you post something within one of your Facebook groups. And just recently, they added the ability to see how many people your post within your groups are reaching, and you can see how that is priming that pump for the monetization toggle to be switched on in sometime in the near future. So fewer and fewer, or less and less of your content's being seen by people in your groups, and the groups are powerful. I mean, Facebook groups are amazing. We've built a business off of one. Many thousands and not millions of people are using Facebook groups every day to grow community, grow business. So they are a phenomenal tool, but you've got to think about at that point when Facebook is basically going to charge you to reach more people in your group, and it's coming. So the question is, what's the workaround for that? How do you grow one of these communities, but also create an insurance policy for yourself for when Facebook does flip that switch and basically shows your content to nobody?
When they gradually make it to zero. And I think that we've all seen this at one point or another. Like you said, years ago, it seemed like we saw all of our friends post on Facebook, but then sometimes you have to click over to a specific friend and say, I haven't seen this person post in a while. And then you look in their wall, and sure enough, they have been posting. It's just that Mark Zuckerberg's and Facebook's algorithm decided for you that you don't need to see all that. Right. And it makes sense, right? When only the college kids were on Facebook, or only a handful of people were on Facebook, then there was enough attention or time or posts to go around. But now the space is limited. And it also makes sense that Facebook only wants to show the hottest content, right? The things that get the most reactions. And so, okay, so you say that this big change is coming, right? And it's slowly, gradually becoming more and more. Eventually, if you don't pay any money, then you won't get seen. And my understanding is that you have the software that can help us kind of still survive. And you know, as this new wave is coming, and even in the future, once if it totally becomes pay to play, then we can use your special software to keep these groups active and to keep
Right.
people posting, even if we don't have this huge budget of thousands of dollars per month.
Yeah, so it's all about creating a contingency plan for yourself. So what do you do if you've got this great group? Facebook flips that monetization switch and starts showing your content to, you know, very few people. Also, what do you do if you've spent a lot of time and built an amazing group and for some reason Facebook shuts down your group? Who knows? The algorithm, the computers deem that your group is not appropriate, and they shut you down. You log in one day, and boom, your group's no longer available. Do you have a contingency plan to still reach the people, the community that you built? So this is what GroupX is really all about. It helps you build a list from the people who want to join your Facebook group. And a list meaning an email list, possibly an SMS list, whatever list you need that to be. GroupX helps you do that in a very simple, easy way. So when you ask to join a Facebook group, the admins of that group have the opportunity to ask you some questions when you click that request to join the group button. Many times it might just be some answers about who you are or what your interests are, but those questions can also be things like, what's your email address? We want to send you a free gift. Or what's your phone number? We want to add you to our SMS text message list. So with GroupX, when somebody answers those questions, our software and our Chrome extension gives you the ability to actually capture that data from the answered question. So maybe it's an email, maybe it's a phone number, maybe it's a little bit about yourself. It gives you the opportunity to capture that data and send it to somewhere safe. Because what happens is if you approve that member without capturing that data, Facebook just makes it vanish. It disappears. You can't access it any longer. So the key is, before you approve somebody, the key is to capture that data and send it somewhere safe. And GroupX helps you do that.
Super cool. And again, I think we've all seen this where you join a group, you say, I want to join, and then instantly something pops up. And sometimes they just say, do you agree to the rules? Or type in
Right.
yes if you agree to the rules. But then every now and then, like you said, they ask for an email address. And I imagine when I join a group like this, like I'm sure it pops up on the receiving end and they, copy it and they write it down. But you don't see this often enough, right? And this is like one of these things where, like you said, let's say someone spends years building a group of 20,000 people, and then one day Facebook just decides, well, that group is banned for one reason or another. Now all that work is gone. And I think this is like one of those marketing fundamentals that we all forget and need to remember, that we can't just be married to one single platform. Like you said, we need to have that contingency plan. When I think about people that are publishing books on Kindle, I mean, you have a link off to a web page where you can say, sign up for our email list to find out about our other books. If you sell an e-commerce item on Amazon, it's a good idea to get people off your list. I mean, you see this over and over where just because this one website is giving you tons of consistent traffic, you still should be building your own list, capturing your own list. If nothing else, then to then send that list to other platforms, right? I mean, say you're building this big group, why not also, once they're on your email list and your SMS list, send them to like your Facebook page? Why not send them to your website, especially if you have something for sale? And what I like about just the gears that are turning in the head here is that now you're not limited to the rules and regulations of that site, right? Because who knows what rules change or what they say you can or can't do on Facebook. But if you use Facebook to build your list, now they're your prospects, now they're your customers, now you can do what you want. And so I really like this idea. And so one thing that you said in here, you like we got a slightly into Geekland. We said that this is a Chrome extension, which for me as a fellow geek, what I hear from that is that there's no way that this can be blocked, banned, shut down because it's running on your own computer. It's like you see that request coming into your group, they give their email address, and then it's as if you're seeing it, right? So even
Right.
Facebook doesn't even know you're doing this. So this is like an impossible to block system,
Right.
right?
Yeah, there's nothing nefarious going on. Basically, you are requesting data from people who are trying to enter your group or requesting access to your group. And GroupX just gives you a really simple, one button push way to take that data and send it to somewhere safe. And then once it's in that somewhere safe, which is your GroupX dashboard, you can then connect various integrations like email marketing, autoresponders, Google Sheets, Zapier, different CRMs, and basically then push that data and information off to some of those third-party integrations. So, yeah, it's a lot easier than copying and pasting, which is what we used to do. And the very reason that we created GroupX is to basically give ourselves an easy way to capture that data and then send it off to our integrations, like for future email marketing or just correspondence with the people in our group.
Well, cool. And like you said, there's nothing nefarious about this, but I can imagine that at first glance, it almost feels that way, right? Because you're like, ooh, this lead's coming in and the data is being copied over. But when you're explaining this, what comes to mind here is, okay, say someone is joining a group for, I don't know, veterinarians for whatever reason comes to mind, like a group of all kinds of like-minded veterinarians. And you had like an ebook or a course or a YouTube channel or something to help out veterinarians. Well, someone joins this group. And what happens with a lot of us when we join a group? We join, we look at the first handful of posts, and then we say, oh, well, some other message or notification came in. And who knows if it's weeks or months before you even look at that group again. There's a reason why you looked into joining that group or why you click that join button. So the person running that group, if that email address is copied over to some kind of an email autoresponder system, well, then maybe in a couple of days, you can send a message saying, hey, thanks for joining the group. Do you need any extra help, or do you have a specific question? You can send a video to them. You can send them back to that group and say, hey, you joined this group. Don't forget to keep checking it out. You can send them over to maybe like one of the most important posts in that group to say, like, a lot of people join and maybe their veterinarian clinic is struggling and they join this group to get some ideas. Here's like our top pinned sticky posts with like
Right.
kind of the mega thread or links to the more important things. So just what comes to mind when you're explaining this, having not seen the software yet, is that when people join groups, usually they don't check again or they don't check in a while. There's some kind of an urgent need that caused them to join this group, and it's up to us as group owners to like figure out what it is and send them at least a couple of reminders and say, well, here's this group you just joined.
Yeah, there's so many use cases. I can even maybe just give you a few examples. So GroupX, a really great use for GroupX is for group growth. So you might want to run some Facebook ads urging people to join your group, maybe perhaps in exchange for like some sort of lead magnet or access to a course, right? So you can run an ad. Clicking on that ad could bring you over to the group where you request access. And then when you request access, as you mentioned before, opens up a little lightbox form right on your screen. And the first question you could ask is say, hey, listen, we want to give you instant access to our newest training or course. To do so, just enter your email address. So the person enters their email address, right? And they request access to the group. So now you as the admin can go through and you can connect GroupX, and then you can connect GroupX to say a Google Sheet, which you then can connect to perhaps a online portal like Thinkific or Kajabi or Teachable. And the really cool thing is as soon as you hit approve with GroupX, that person's first name, last name, and email address goes over to GroupX and then connects to the integrations that you've hooked up. So maybe you've hooked up a Google Sheet that connects to Thinkific. That person would be instantly enrolled in your course simply just by hitting the one button to approve by GroupX over in Facebook. And all that stuff, it happens instantly in the background once you have it set up. That's pretty interesting. Another example is we have it's political season, right? The presidential elections coming up, and we've got in my community here, the Democratic committee is actually using GroupX, which is really interesting. So they started their own Facebook group, and they're reaching out to people in the community who are Democrats to join the Facebook group. And they're asking a series of questions. Number one is, what is your email address so we can keep in touch during political season? Number two, are you interested in volunteering to help out? I forget what the third question is, but so people come in, answer those questions. And with GroupX, you can set up multiple integrations. So you can segment the people who join your group depending on the way they answer the questions. So perhaps you might want to add the people who are interested in volunteering to one list, and maybe the people who are not interested in volunteering to another list. So you can basically approve those people, send them off to your GroupX dashboard, and then go through and filter through them and send some people off to one Google Sheet and other people off to another Google Sheet, and keep track of those people, in separate segmented lists. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my brain is going crazy with all of the possibilities. And I mean, a couple of things come to mind when you explain, like maybe some of these more advanced features, but they're really cool because it's like to first kind of get our heads wrapped around the basic get up and running idea of GroupX. To me, is at least you make a Facebook group, someone joins, capture an email list, get them on, or capture an email address, put them on an email list or an autoresponder or some kind of sequence. That seems to be like the bare bones basic easy win we could use with GroupX. But then getting into like the slightly more advanced functionality, but I mean, these days it's all in the cloud, you connect apps together. This is so cool because someone joins a group, they enter their email address, and then it sets them up in some kind of a login members area course just for joining the group. And then instantly. And then your other idea there is to, based on the questions they ask when they join the group, it segments them off to one thing or another, like this Democratic committee, either they're just a voter or they're someone that wants to volunteer. And what comes to mind here is, say there's like a realtor, or there's like a coaching client in any kind of industry. Like let's say there's like a life coach, right? And they make some kind of like motivational, like, law of attraction type of Facebook group, and people join. And then maybe it could be like a pop-up shows up and says, well, are you interested in just the motivational quotes, or do you want some kind of one-on-one coaching? And if they say yes, then instead of just subscribing them, it puts them into a Google Sheet, as you said. And just to catch everyone up, that's basically like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet that just magically gets filled up with people that join the group. And so imagine if every Monday morning, you sat down at your desk with your coffee and you open up your Google Sheet and you said, oh, there's 6 people on this list, and maybe I'll make some phone calls. And there's like 6 people that all people that joined your group, 6 people specifically raised their hand and said, I want you to call me on the phone. Here's a phone number. I mean, this is super cool, right? Because it's like you said, because it connects to everything, not just an email list. We can do other things with it, set them up on a course or call them. But then there's just that ability with the segmentation to say, well, here's that top tier, that top percentage of someone that I should really focus on. I mean, this is amazing. And it's like there's finally a use for all these people coming into our Facebook group. Because, like, again, if you figure, well, maybe you built a Facebook group of 200 people or 20,000 people, it's like they live on Facebook, and it doesn't feel, I mean, there's like a limit to how much value there is, right? And you make a post to that group, not all 20,000 people are going to see it. Right. But if you set up GroupX, you not only have 20,000 people on your in your Facebook group, you have 20,000 leads, 20,000 email opt-ins. Maybe the top 1 or 2% of those are specific people to go after. I mean, so many cool things that we can do by using this tool.
Yeah, it's super cool. So, I mean, we have a bunch of native integrations, email marketing platforms, and we're always adding more. And then the mother of the integrations is basically the Google Sheet, because once you have a content or data added to a Google Sheet, you then can connect it to something like Zapier. And then once you connect the Google Sheet to Zapier, you can connect to thousands of other applications. One interesting thing that we've been doing with one of our groups is when someone asks to join our group, we ask for their email address and we give them a piece of content in exchange for that. So we have our group connected to the Google Sheet, and then the Google Sheet connected to an application called Bonjoro. And Bonjoro is an app that allows you to send really quick, personalized video messages to people. So imagine this, someone asks to join your group, they enter their email address for the lead magnet. When you approve them for the group, that information sent off to the Google Sheet, and then the Google Sheet sends that person's first name, last name, and email address to an application called Bonjoro that's on your mobile phone. And then you get a little alert that says, hey, you have a new Bonjoro to do. You open Bonjoro, that person's contact information is just sitting right there. You hit record and you send them a personalized video message welcoming them to the group minutes after you've approved them.
That's crazy. And yeah, and again, this is like easy enough to do, right? It's just a matter of setting it up and connecting a few of the pieces. And you see in the wild when because we all sign up for lists, we all join groups. I see this so rarely. I mean, I would say like 5% or less of the time. And when someone does it, I'm blown away. Like sometimes, and I've seen this only once with an email list. I opted into an email list and the person sent me like this quick, like you said, like use this app Bonjoro. They pull up their phone, they click the record button. They just say, 20-second, 30-second welcome video. And just doing that alone, like blows me away. And it's so easy to do, but it's also easy not to do, right? But it's like, if we just set aside 5-10 minutes a day or a week, or assign this as a virtual assistant task to someone else, this is something that we just make these tiny little touches, make this little bit of effort, and it can add up to a lot. And what you're reminding me of is, years ago, I came across this guy at a conference who was really down on himself. And he said, my business right now is only making $500 a month. And I said, well, why is that? And he says, well, I built up my email list and I have a whole 100 email subscribers and 5 of them are paying me $100 a month. And I'm only making $500 a month. And I'm thinking, you're a genius. You have one bottleneck. Yeah, killing it. Like your one bottleneck is only having 100 people to talk to, but he was making really good use of just that tiny list. And I think that's one of those things that I forget and remember again, that even if we only have a small list that we're working with right now, or say you're some kind of, brick and mortar mom and pop, rebuilding, recovering your business from COVID, whatever it is, you might only have that small list of paying clients, or that small list of people who have like visited your dental practice these last few months or something. But if you really work on just that little bit of a list, that can be worthwhile, and that can even be an advantage, because if you only have 50, 100 people to work with, if you only have those handful of people joining your group every week, why not just budget 10 minutes or so and send some kind of a quick personal message. And then once the group grows and grows until it's too much of a time commitment to handle, then that's a good problem to have. Right. But yeah, like
exactly.
And in general, like you're just reminding me that when we get new leads or customers coming into our business, we need to route them somewhere else. We need to at least use some of this automation and do something with them, right? Send them a thank you card or like a text message blast or voice blast or something. And yeah, we all need to be looking into this one way or another, is taking our leads somewhere else in order to contact them instantly, if not within 24 hours or so while they're still hot.
Yeah, at 100%. So GroupX allows you to do 2 really important things. First off, gives you a contingency plan, a way to connect with and communicate with your group outside of social media, outside of Facebook. Really, really important to have that in place. Build the list, the money's in the list. And then the second thing, it allows you to create an amazing first impression and to stand out by automating a process to really like welcome somebody to your group. And we just talked about a few of those different ways, the Bonjoro, or just as simply as basically having GroupX connected to your email marketing autoresponder via, MailChimp or Constant Contact, whatever it is. So when you approve somebody for the group, they can instantly get an email sent to them, welcome, with a welcome message, rules to the group, encouragement to engage in the group and post and all those different things. So it allows you to build that list. It allows you to stand out, and also allows you to do things like segmenting your list and keeping track of who is who in your group, and perhaps what their different interests are, or what type of engagement that they're going to be interested in.
And that this phrase keeps coming back in our conversation, to build the list. The money's in the list. And what the idea that you're sparking off with me is, and like some of us marketers, we have some Facebook groups for fun. And the idea you're sparking off for me is that every Facebook group we have out there, we need to have this lead magnet, right? We need to have something for free where even if whether we have GroupX set up yet or not, we need to at least have some kind of a web page, some kind of a sign up email opt-in page, and then some kind of a quick freebie related to that group. And it's so easy to forget this. And this is one of those marketing fundamentals. And in these last few minutes of our conversation here, like we talked about GroupX at groupx.io. And at the end, I want to circle back around and plug GroupX again. But these last few minutes we have here, I want to maybe talk a little bit about the other things that you have going on and your agency, because it's like, you describing this, it all kind of connects in my head. Like I'm thinking about you and Drew, how you teach local pages and local marketing and local groups. And it seems like this is a thing that can even connect with that. And also in general, it just seems like we said when we started, you have all these ideas, you have all these things going on, and they all seem like simple plus amazing at the same time. So can you tell us a little bit about like yourself or your agency or any other websites or services you think we should hear about today?
Sure, absolutely. So, Drew and I, my business partner, Drew Griffin, we are both local marketing guys. We got our start, just helping local brick and mortar businesses use better marketing strategies. And over time, we've figured it out a lot out. And basically, we decided that we wanted to help other people who wanted to help local businesses. So we started putting together training systems and courses that we now give away and sometimes sell these trainings as part of our Facebook group, which is called Delicious Marketing Hacks. So we have a great community of people, of local marketing people who are really into helping businesses in the local space. So we would invite anybody who's into marketing in the local scene to come and join our group. It's called Delicious Local Marketing Hacks. You can just search that in Facebook and come join it. And then we've really gotten recently into creating software tools that basically help us in our own business. And we know if they help us in our business, they're probably going to help other folks too who are into the same sort of stuff that we are. So GroupX is one of those. We have another piece of software called Everlinks, which is a really cool mobile web page builder. If you're using things like Instagram or Facebook in your business, Everlinks gives you a really simple, easy way to create a bio page or a link in bio page, mobile web page. Probably not the best way to explain that, but it gives you a really simple way to create a mobile optimized web page that has links to your most important content on it. And you can find out more about that at everlinks.io.
Super cool. Everlinks.io. And when you were explaining that, there's something in there about how you like the genesis of some of these software tools that you created. And what came to mind to me is like, it's really easy to see what's out there and to say, oh, well, I see there's Facebook exists. Let me clone Facebook. YouTube exists. Let me clone YouTube. But some ideas are worth pursuing and others are not. And I think that if anyone listening or watching is looking to maybe tap into some of the magic that you've tapped into of like creating some of these useful tools. Something you said in there was you kind of created the tool that you wish existed, right? You created a tool that you wish you had a use for. And I think that that's something that's really simple but powerful, is if there is something out there that like you need to do as far as like a web page or an app or something with like traffic or something with your customers, and it does not exist, that and it's simple for you to make maybe a simple bare bones version, and maybe that is an idea worth pursuing as far as a software tool that we should be looking into. And it seems like when you have these cool ideas and you create these cool tools like GroupX and Everlinks that you described, it's like you're serving a need that's not there, but it's also you're serving your own need. There's like a tool that you need to exist right now. You need it to exist yesterday to get to where you need to go, and you build it, and then you build it with the idea that other people have the same problem. They're stuck where you were as well, and they can also use that software tool. I think that's something worth maybe all of us sticking in our heads. And then you said that Facebook group is delicious local marketing hacks, and I imagine that if we join that Facebook group right now, will there be a pop-up, and can we fill in our email address, and will it send it to GroupX, and will it put us on a list and all those kinds of things?
It will do all of that. Absolutely. That's really the main reason why we created GroupX, is that we were looking for a way to capture that data from the questions we were asking people who wanted to join our group. There's actually, there's a couple other similar type of tools out in the marketplace that we tried to use, but they didn't work well. Oftentimes they would freeze up or wouldn't actually approve the person for the group and send the data to the Google Sheet. And there's a time, actually, the genesis of this whole thing being created, we built a group, and we had about 300 people waiting to get into the group. It was like a challenge that we had set up, and we had collected a bunch of data and email addresses and stuff. And Drew went to use one of these other software tools that we were using for this purpose, and he selected all the 300 people and hit the approve button to hopefully capture all that data and send it over to a Google Sheet, and it didn't work. We lost 300 email addresses, and poof, in a second, all that data. We had asked some very poignant questions about their interests and what they were into. It was gone in an instant. So we got really upset. I was like, oh my God, we just lost all that work, all those email addresses. I'm like, we're going to build one of these ourselves and make sure that it works, and then get it into the hands of other people who need it.
And what comes to mind there is, well, that data and those answers, they're not gone, they're just gone for you. They're still stored somewhere on Facebook servers. Mark Zuckerberg has all those answers. It's just that you don't. So now it's time for you to take back what is rightfully yours that you earned because they chose to join your group, and then Mark Zuckerberg gets those answers. That's not right at all. So GroupX is the way to fix that problem.
Yeah, once you hit that approve button, if you don't capture that data, it's gone. It's not gone. Facebook has it, but you don't have access to it. There's no way to retrieve it. There's nowhere to go look it up. It's poof. It's just vaporized. And key is to capture that data, send it to somewhere safe, which is your GroupX dashboard. And then within your GroupX dashboard, you can hook up any number of third-party integrations to create and do some really cool things.
All right, so we all need to be going to groupx.io right now, sooner rather than later. And I know that things
Robert,
change. Oh, yeah.
For all of your listeners, we're going to put together a discount code that will give any of your listeners 50% off any of our plans. So you can use the discount code Robert at groupx.io, and it will give 50% off to any of your listeners.
And I know that things change over time as far as like pricing, but about how much can people expect to pay, and how quick of a setup process is all this?
It's a really quick setup process. It's basically, like we said before, it's a Chrome extension. So if you're using the Chrome browser, it works there. It also works on Microsoft Edge and the Bravo browser. So there's 3 different browsers it works on. Basically, you just click a button, it installs on your browser. And then you'd open up the Chrome extension, log in with your GroupX login information, and then just connect the group. It takes about 5 minutes. We have a bunch of native integrations built in already. And then we also have the Google Sheet that you can connect to, like Zapier or some other types of automation services, which will allow you then to connect GroupX to basically thousands of other apps. So it's a pretty easy, simple setup. We've got full training videos and knowledge base built in the dashboard. And price-wise, it's pretty inexpensive. We have a bunch of monthly plans that start out as low as $10 a month, up to about $25 a month, depending on how many groups that you want to connect. So it's rather inexpensive.
Super cool. Well, I mean, yeah, if this having this tool in place gives you even just a handful of opt-ins, if it gets you just that slight edge on your Facebook responses, if it just leads to like one sale or one coaching client, then it has more than paid for itself. And this is a tool that we need in general, because if we don't have it, then eventually that monthly fee, that's what we'll be paying to Facebook anyway, if not in many multiples. So if we have a Facebook group that we wish that was getting more response, or let's say that you have only a Facebook page and you're looking to launch a Facebook group soon, this is the perfect thing to have in place. GroupX.io is the place to go to take the next step here. Anything that you feel like throwing in here as we wrap up, wind down here, David? Any final parting thoughts?
That's it. I would love for people to come and become a GroupX member and really just take more advantage of your Facebook group, build that contingency plan, and build a list.
All right, do that. Contingency plan, build a list, and we will see you on the other side at groupx.io, coupon code Robert. See you there.